let's get started on recording. Man, this would be annoying. Let me just move this. Oh my god. So, the Charter of Rights and Freedom, the Charter, protects basic rights and freedoms that are essential to keeping Canada free and democratic society. It is a powerful force for progress, protect my ass, man, and fairness with the power to influence our society. What's bad stuff, man? Doesn't treat what allows drugs, man. Half of the votes he probably has is probably from drug users. Influence our society by interpreting laws and policies. The Charter ensures that the government or anyone acting on its behalf doesn't take away or interfere with these rights or freedoms in an unreasonable way. Since 1982, the Charter has been an essential part of Canada's democracy and will continue to shape our identity as a nation. I thought we were a country. And the Charter affirms that we are a multicultural society. Now that I think about it, why is there only Black History Month? And that must be read and understood with this in mind. The rights and freedoms guaranteed in the Charter govern how governments act, including the right to equality, freedom of expression, and the right not to be deprived of life, liberty, or security of the person. Man, we practically just got robbed by the people in our basement. Anyways, except in accordance with the principles of fundamental justice, I don't see no justice. It also protects the rights of the First Nation, Inuit, Métis, in Canada. For this, I've never seen before, but I'm gonna trust that they at least protect the First Nations. History of the Charter. The roots of the Charter lie in the desire for Canada to gain full control over its constitution, because Canada's original constitution was an act of the British Parliament in 1867. Only Britain had the power to change it. In 1980, Canada and its provinces began a collaborative process to bring more home and the Constitution and incorporate a Charter of Rights and Freedoms. A committee of Canadian parliamentarians representing all parties considered more than 1,200 written submissions and over 300 testimonies to help develop the final charter. Receiving approval from Britain for the last time, Queen Elizabeth II, she's dead, signed the Canada Act on April 17th, 1982 in Ottawa. This action gave Canada control over its constitution and guarantees the rights of freedom in the Charter as the supreme law of the nation. Prime Minister Pierre Elliott Trudeau signing the Proclamation of Constitution Act. If you're Justin Trudeau's father and you're probably dead, your son has done really badly. He allows drugs in this country. I hope you didn't do the same. Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, she's dead. From signing the Proclamation of the Constitution Act 1982, Mr. of Justice Jean I won't pronounce that, signing the Proclamation of Constitution Act 1982. The rights and freedoms of the rights and freedom that the Charter protects. The rights and freedoms protected by the Charter can be divided into 7 categories. These categories address Canadian fundamental freedoms. Now, at this point, Canada might as well just be tax the rich and help the poor. We're not even that rich, but people in our basement don't have anything. They only have their lives now. That's what my mom said. That's pretty much all that they have. Only have now. Different category: mobility rights, legal rights, equality rights, official language rights, and minority language educational rights. I don't think it even protects any of these. Well, some of these, not all of these. I don't think it protects legal rights sometimes. Sometimes. Actually, it really depends on the laws. I haven't read the laws. This is only how the charter was formed. The charter allows individuals to challenge the government actions that are believed to violate rights or freedoms. The most complex and controversial charter-based challenge may end up before the Supreme Court of Canada. In the past, these challenges have set legal precedents, good, and also inspired significant changes to federal, provincial, and territorial laws. When and how the government can put limits on individual rights. Man, I wish I was older, but I also wish I was younger, so I could, anyway. The Charter recognizes that even in a democracy, rights and freedoms are not absolute. Section 1 of the Charter allows the government to put limits on rights and freedoms if that limit is set out in law, pursues an important goal that could be justified in a free and democratic society, pursues that goal in a reasonable and proportionate manner. Damn, I can't speak today. Section 33 of the Charter, also called Notwithstanding Clause, allows Canada's Parliament, provincial and territorial legislatures to pass laws that may violate certain charter rights. A legislature may do this if they clearly state to the public that they are passing a law that violates the charter, in which rights in particular law infringes. All levels of government must review and enact this declaration to Canadians every 5 years, or the limits are automatically lifted. The federal government, the federal parliament, God damn, I can't speak this, has never used a notwithstanding clause. Good. If the government limits your rights without a good reason. I think that's happened to my mom before. Man, that's just crazy. The government isn't fair. Man, I wish I had my own country. I mean, it'd be hard, but anyway. If an individual thought the government had put limits on individual rights without good reason, a court challenge may be brought forward. If the court agrees with the individual who has brought the claim, the court may order a remedy. The Charter sets out 3 types of remedies, which are actions intending to compensate for the right violation in question. First, the claimant can ask the court for any remedy that is appropriate and just in the circumstances. And for example, a court might stop criminal proceedings and stay the charges if they decide a person has been denied the right to a trial within a reasonable time. In limited circumstances, an individual may receive a monetary award. Second, a remedy may be available when authorities, such as a police officer, has carried out an investigation that have violated a person's charter rights. This may happen, for example, when police improperly search for evidence on private property and violates a person's right to privacy. In this situation, the person can ask the court to order that the evidence will not be used against them in trial. A court will make an order like this if it is clear that using such evidence at trial would bring the administration of justice into disrepute. Okay. Third, if the court finds that a law or a section of law violates a person's charter rights, the court can issue a declaration saying that the law is not valid. Sorry. My voice changed for some reason. Human rights protected in other statue. I almost said, wait, is it statues? Statues. Actually, I won't pronounce that anymore. The Charter guarantees many basic human rights and fundamental freedoms. We have other human rights protections that come from federal, provincial, and territorial statutes, common law, and international law. In 1960, the Parliament of Canada passed the Canadian Bill of Rights. I don't think I ever used any of my rights before. I only do what my mom ever tells me to do. Which was the first federal human rights law in the country and guaranteed basic rights and freedoms in federal law for the first time. The Canadian Human Rights Act, passed in 1977, prohibits discrimination in the context of federal employment and the provision of goods, services, and facilities or accommodation generally available to the public. It prevents discriminatory practice based on a number of grounds, including race, national or ethnic origin, sex, and disability. The Act applies to the Government of Canada, First Nation government, and federally regulated private businesses, including in banking, airline, telecommunication, and broadcasting, and in provincial transportation sectors. Wow, I can use this at school. All provinces and territories have similar human rights laws that apply within that province or territory. They also similarly apply to provincial or provincially regulated works and undertakings. Next, off to the next one. Where is it? Where is this second one? There you go. Indigenous justice, recognition, and reconciliation. Why do they look so weird? Why do they wear this? These look like. Why are they so colorful? Why is there so much fur? Is this what normal stuff, like stuff that is just straight from the wild looks like? I don't question that anymore. The Government of Canada. Hold up. Let me just move this real quick to see what this is. Oh god, damn, bro. Is that what the dress looks like in Indigenous? That looks really different. Man, that's crazy. Anyways, back to the recording stuff. Right. God. Why is Undertale yellow opening? Please no. I do not need this. Yeah, I will. There we go. Much better. Just need to minimize it. That's better. Anyways, fine. Indigenous justice, recognition, and reconciliation. The Government of Canada is renewing the relationship with First Nations, Inuit, and the Métis Nation based on the recognition of rights, respect, and partnership. Learn more about the work in the Department of Justice is doing to renew the relationship and support Indigenous communities as they shape their own futures. How are we sure they're not, like, planning to declare war on this? I'm supposed to just kind of... No, I can't. I wish there's, like, all the stuff, like... The over-representation of Indigenous people in criminal justice system is is a serious and complex issue rooted in systemic racism and legacy of colonialism. In consultation and cooperation with First Nation, Inuit, and Métis, Justice Canada is developing an Indigenous justice strategy to address systemic discrimination and the overrepresentation of Indigenous people in the justice system. Given the shared responsibility for Canada's justice system, this work is also being done in close collaboration with provinces and territories. Bro, actually, I'm not gonna do the Indigenous people one. This has too many sections for this one. It has like tens of thousands. Finally, the one that actually has something. The actual laws. I want to explore. Yeah, I'm just gonna. Yeah, bro, do I have to read this one by one? Introduction. I'm just gonna. In 1982, the Human Rights Law Section (HRLS) of the Department of Justice was created as a center of expertise with a mandate to support the department as it navigated its way in what was then the brave new world of the Charter. Man, the world was never brave. Much of the section's work since then has involved providing legal advice on a wide range of novel and complex charter issues in relation to specific matters. However, HRLS has also invested considerable energy in developing knowledge management tools aimed at helping inform colleagues across the department about charter issues and evolutions in the case law. For over 2 decades, one of these tools has been the charter checklist. I can't speak today, god damn it. The checklists were first published in hard copy in 1991 and went online internally at the Department of Justice in 2003. They are the product of long-standing collaboration amongst lawyers, students, and paralegals and support staff in HRLS. The Official Languages Directorate and the Constitutional, Administrative, and International Law Section. More recently, mindful of efforts to increase openness and transparency both inside and outside government, HRLS started thinking about how the checklist could be adapted for publication so it could share the work of some Canada's leading charter experts with a broader legal audience, while also continue to provide a valuable resource for our colleagues. This is how we landed on our refreshed and renamed tool, Charterpedia. What a better way to celebrate the Charter's 35th anniversary in 2017 than to transform decades of collective work into a Charterpedia that can be shared with the broader audience. What will you find in Charterpedia? And the entries for each provision the Charter generally contain the following elements: a brief description of similar provision in international and regional comparative instruments, the purpose of the section, the analysis or test developed through case law in respect of provision, and particular consideration related to the section. Pinpoint is that cities? Access point cites cities to relevant authorities are provided and citations to Supreme Court of Canada. Decisions are hyperlinked wherever possible. The date at the top of each entry reflects the date to which it is current. We'll be striving to update entries every 6 months. That's way too long. That's even longer than how long Pet Simulator 99 takes to update now. Anyways, each entry has a different author or authors. While we've tried to standardize many aspects of the form and content, we have also tried to not let the perfect be the enemy of good. In order to facilitate timely publishing and updates. In other words, high quality, not absolute protection has been our goal. And goddamn, can't really speak today. Did I even say that correctly? And now a few lawyerly caveats. HRLS. Charterpedia should not be considered an exhaustive overview of the law. Charterpedia entries are intended to provide legal information. They are not legal advice, nor are they intended to be a substitute for legal advice. Charterpedia entries do not constitute a waiver of solicitor-client privilege and do not reflect the formal views or legal positions of the Department of Justice. Our goal has always been to produce a user-friendly tool which draws the reader's attention to main issues that arise under various provisions of the Charter and leading case law on point. The cited case law tends to be that of the Supreme Court of Canada, but also includes appellate and trial level decisions where appropriate, because it is still intended to be a key resource for justice counsel and needs to be maintained in both English and French. Justice will continue to update the Charterpedia. In other words, it's not a fully open and collaborated wiki. Sarah Gay, how do you pronounce that? I don't want to say that word. Director General and Senior General Counsel, Human Rights Law Section. I don't know if I'm offending them right now, because I don't know if I'm pronouncing everything wrong. I don't know if it's like kind of offensive. Did I offend the indigenous? I feel guilty now. Am I guilty? Provision 1. The Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms guarantee the rights and freedoms set out in it, subject only to such reasonable limits prescribed as the law can demonstrably justified in a free and democratic society. Similar provisions enacted in 1982, Section 1 of the Charter represented an innovation in human rights law as it set out a general framework for justifying limits on rights, freedom, and freedoms guaranteed in the Charter. There is no similar provision in the Canadian Bill of Rights. With respect to international instruments binding on Canada, but somewhat similar provisions may be found in the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, which contain standalone limitation provisions in Articles 4 and 5. The International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights contains limitations provisions which are specific to certain rights. Articles 12, mobility rights. 14, open courts. 18, freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. 19, freedom of expression and opinion. 21, right of peaceful assembly. And 22, freedom of association. See also the following international, regional, and comparative law instruments that are not legally binding on Canada, but include similar provisions. The South African Constitution Bill of Rights includes a very similar general limitation clause in Section 36. The European Convention on Human Rights contains limitation clauses that are specific to rights and freedoms guaranteed under the Convention. Articles 8, 2. The right to privacy. 9, 2. Freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. 10, 2. Right to freedom of expression. And 11, 2. Right to freedom and peaceful assembly, and right to freedom of association. That convention, however, does not contain a standalone limitation provision. The United States Bill of Rights does not contain a similar provision. Purpose. Section 1 affects a balance between the rights of the individual and interests of society by permitting limits to be placed on guaranteed rights and freedom. Most modern constitutions recognize that rights are not absolute and can be limited if this is necessary to achieve an important objective, and if the limit is appropriately tailored or proportionate. Canada Attorney General v. JTI McDonald Corp. McDonald's? I love McDonald's. Wait, that's not McDonald's. I think I offended someone. Actually, never mind. Just forget about that. 2007, 2 SCR 610 at paragraph 36. The values and principles which guide the court in applying Section 1 include the inherent dignity of the human person, commitment to social justice and equality, accommodation of a wide variety of beliefs, respect for cultural and group identity, and faith in social and political institutions which enhance the participation of individuals and groups in society. R.V. Oakes, 1986, 1 SCR 103 at page 136. Analysis. Section 1 is engaged only after a finding has been made that a right of freedom has been limited. The onus of proof under Section 1 on the person seeking to justify the limit, which is generally the government. Oakes, The standard of proof is a civil standard or balance of probabilities. Oakes, Supra. I need to stop recording now. I'm gonna make part 2 later. It's been almost 30 minutes. I'm gonna stop for now. Just stop the recording. This is just part 1. There's going to be a part 2 soon. See y'all. Bye.